Lost media is an interesting topic. By having something entertaining that we remember from our past, or even current times, going completely missing is depressing.
Nice video. Now you should make one about another lost song, like the most mysterious song on the internet. The term lost media invokes feelings of adventure and curiosity, but there is an aspect of mystery to it. How did it become lost, and where is it?
Lost media is also a wide spectrum of all types of media, like music. I think we've experienced hearing a catchy song and didn't get the name of it. In this day and age, Shazam is the random hero of idea in a song. But back then, it was an adventure and a half trying to figure it out. You had to rely on radio DJs telling you the artist and song title. However, it was a different situation for one song that turned into a 40-year mystery and a 20-year internet investigation.
A song dubbed the most mysterious song on the internet, which you'll find out about on this mysterious and... Damn it. Can I have a lightning bolt, please? Thanks. And this kinda Halloween episode of Pointless History.
Within March 2007, the mysterious song, which we'll call TMS for short, was uploaded to German Usenet forums, bestof80s.de, and thespiritofradio.ca by the user Blue. The latter upload has a description that says, recorded at 82 to 84 from a German radio station, looking for singer since. In other posts, Blue said that it was most likely recorded from an Deutsche Rundfunk. We'll call it NDR to make our lives easier. And I definitely did not look up that pronunciation. Specifically on NDR's show, Musik für jungen Leute, translated to English as Music for Young People, playing punk, new wave, and independent genres of music. The song has a new and dark wave post-punk sound, like something Joy Division, The Sound, or The Cure would make, almost apocalyptic. It's sung in English, but you could tell the singer has a European accent. In order, it has an instrumental intro, following with 2 verse choruses, another instrumental section, with the last chorus fading out. I'm personally not a fan of songs fading out, especially if I want to play drums to them. Apparently, at the end of the song, there is a little click or a smack sound that many have theorized could have been the radio DJ's mouth smacking as they were about to say the song title and band. Between 2011 and 2019, there was a YouTube upload of TMS, a Furrow Coach's forum post about it, and another short excerpt of the song uploaded to the Dead Wax Records YouTube channel. This upload was by Nico from the Brazilian record label Dead Wax Records, who had been searching for the song since 2007. This led to Nico's friend and teenage sound engineer Gabriel Vieira to discover the song and get involved with this little search, eventually turning it into a full-blown internet investigation. In April 2019, Gabriel uploaded the song to his personal YouTube channel with what little info he knew at the time, and then posted it to different forums trying to find an ID to the song. Quoting Gabriel, Several people posted in 80s forums asking if anyone knew this song, with no luck. It was a time when many still used cassette tapes, especially tapes from decades ago. Many of these songs were discovered after a while, but only this has never been discovered, not even any information. No one knows the band that sings this song, no one knows what country the band is, no one knows what year it is, certainly the 80s, and unfortunately, the full song has never been released. He estimated that the band was made up of 4 or 5 members, a lead singer, 2 guitar players, a bass player, unless the lead singer is playing guitar or bass, a drummer, and a keyboardist. Gabriel did some nerdy tech stuff, discovering the song was recorded as mono and not stereo, and the metadata from Blues Upload is dated from 1984. He also theorized the title of the song might be Like the Wind, while others theorized it was Fly Away or Found a Way, before Drake Bell made that popular. To help the search gain more attention, Tyler Jenke, an Australian music journalist, published an article titled "Can You Help Some Internet Sleuths Identify a Mysterious Song?" onto Tone Deaf magazine. The article covers the search for the song, as well as hypothesizing, conspiracing really, that it could be a hoax. After creating an account and posting 44 times on Reddit between April and July 2019, Gabriel eventually created a subreddit page called r/the mysterious song. On this post from Gabriel, the Reddit user New Accounts commented that they found posts on the bestof80s.de by Blue about TMS. Apparently, the account was under the name Anton Rydell, according to Zalkalinity. In the same post, One Knows No Shame found this link with an email that Anton was using. Gabriel tried to get in contact with Anton through this email, with no luck. The email didn't exist anymore. That wasn't the end of it though. New Accounts provided more leads that led to Paul Baskerville. He's a DJ for NDR who hosted music for young people. Some started theorizing he was the DJ who played TMS or knew the DJ who played the song. Gabriel found Paul's Facebook profile and sent him a message about the song. This search would get brought to the attention of Justin, aka Wang on YouTube, who made a video discussing this topic. One of his followers named Bruno Kundo sent him a message on Instagram with a Reddit link discussing this topic. Justin would go on to make 6 videos about TMS between this time up to 2024, along with many other YouTubers. With the investigation for TMS gaining more attention, and theories that Paul Baskerville may know the song, it led to him receiving an overload of messages, with him eventually responding back to Gabriel. With honesty, Paul stated that he had no clue who made the song, but provided an email address for Gabriel to contact a woman named Barbell, who archived Paul's shows. In a second email, to help with the search, Paul said that he would play the song on his radio show once he got back from holiday. The Reddit user Forever in Empty Bliss posted on r/Germany about the search for the song. This led to the Reddit user Johnny Me Too commenting on this post. OMG, I think I remember this quest from 10 plus years ago in a Usenet group. Spent some hours helping find it, to no avail. Up to this point, there was only a 1 and 15-second excerpt of the song available, but Johnny Me Too changed that. Rewinding back to 2007, Johnny Me Too actually downloaded the full recording of the song from Blue's Usenet posts. Fast forwarding back to 2019, Johnny Me Too uploaded the full song on Anon files with the following post on Reddit. Gabriel then downloaded and uploaded the full song onto his YouTube channel. The same day, Gabriel received a message back from Paul, relaying a message from Barbell, stating that she doesn't know the song. Paul also stated that she has hundreds of recorded tapes of the NDR show, and she works all day. It would be a tiring task to go through all of them. Instead, Paul said that he would go through his vinyl collection from the 80s once he got back from holiday. Either on or between July 14th and the 17th, 2019, on the old TMS Discord server, the user Leitronom found, shared, and translated an old German interview with Paul, with potential leads to this mystery. Paul stated in the interview that he sourced a lot of indie records as vinyl releases at local record stores, like Unterm Dunschnitt, Zardoz, and Rough Trade. With this info, it led to many contacting these stores with no luck, and annoyance to the record stores. On July 21st, 2019, Paul returns from his holiday and lives up to his promise to play TMS on his radio show, Nacht Club. In an edited translation from his radio show, he states, "I have been contacted recently by people from different countries because several people are trying to identify a song that was posted by a certain Anton in Bremen, and I'm supposed to have played it between 1982 and 1984 on the show Music for Young People. Apparently, there are people who think we still have the music lists from 1984 here at NDR, and if we had them, we wouldn't even know where to look. The only thing I can or could try when I have time is to search my albums at home and look for covers that I forgot and that look post-punk like. Well, in case of doubt, at least I have a job to do when I retire." He goes on to play the song, then afterwards states, "So nobody knows who the band is nor what the song is called, and it's named the most mysterious song on the internet, and it would be wonderful if one of you would actually know the song. The reactions to this quest are quite different." He goes on to quote Reddit user Heathick, "Now that we know Paul Baskerville is aware of all the commotion, can we all agree to stop being a pain in the ass for him and let him have his holiday? Since I have read his reply, it kinda bugs me. The dude wanted to have some time, lay on the beach, unwind, get shit-faced in some fancy bar, or whatever he's into, and his mail, socials, etc. suddenly blew up with people looking for some song he heard maybe once 38 years ago, if it was even the guy who put it on the air back then. Just let the guy chill." Quoting Paul, I thought that was really funny. And like I said, I would be happy if really someone, I mean it would be enough if one person out there would know this song, the most mysterious song on the internet. Paul messaged Gabriel the next day, stating he played the song on his radio show. Listeners of the show theorized that TMS could just be a hoax. There was a brief ADHD detour when the Reddit user Sakone posted about this new mysterious song, which sounded similar to TMS. It aired on June 23, 2019 on the Warp 30 broadcast. They thought TMS and this new mysterious song might be by the same band. It was later discovered by Discord user Tiffy6700 that the song is called Strangers by the Sinking Ships after noticing that the cinema clock by the same band sounded very similar. The same day of this discovery, the Reddit user Coopteris sends an email to Terry Wellborn of the Sinking Ships to find out if TMS was made by his band. 2 days later, Terry Wellborn responded back, confirming that the Sinking Ships did not make TMS. The same day, a hoax started that TMS, titled Like the Wind, was by Antoine01. I really wasn't feeling like going down a rabbit hole. Rewinding back to July 28, 2019, the Reddit user Emiliano9810 made a post titled, "We might be closer than ever." They talked about watching Wang's video on TMS and read a comment on the video about how in Germany, there's a society and organization named Gemma that requires every song played on all German radio stations to be reported and publicly archived. Emiliano9810 proceeded to email Gemma to get more info. For organization and keeping track, on July 31st, 2019, members of r/The Mysterious Song, or as I like to call them, the MMSI, create a Google spreadsheet list of contacted and investigated bands, labels, persons, etc. for accuracy and keeping track of leads that are possible, ruled out, or dead. A few days later, August 2nd, 2019, the MysteriousSong.com was launched, which doesn't work anymore. On August 20th, 2019, the German radio station Radio 1 broadcasted TMS. Not only that, but Paul Baskerville is interviewed on the station. During this broadcast, a guy named Darius happened to tune in. After nearly having a heart attack hearing the song, he called his sister Lydia to tell her about it. Lydia immediately does some research and gets caught up with the TMS investigation. She gets in contact with Gabriel and reveals that she's the one behind the Anton Rydell/Blue account, and that her brother Darius recorded the original radio broadcast of TMS. Sometime between 1982 and 1984, Darius, when he was 14 years old, recorded some songs from NDR onto a mixtape. Mixed into that tape was TMS. About 20 years later, between 2004 and 2007, Darius digitized all the songs from this mixtape. Lydia decided to buy him a website domain as a birthday gift. Interesting birthday gift. They took advantage of this to create a website called Unknown Pleasures, named after the Joy Division album, a website dedicated to identifying unknown songs. They were able to identify almost all the songs on this mixtape, except for this one specific catchy song, and a couple others, but the main focus was on this song. The first upload of TMS was on Unknown Pleasures, titled as Check It In, Check It Out. As stated before, under the alias name Anton Raydell and username Blue, Lydia also posted it on some Usenet forums. This led to Lydia being recommended by someone named Andreas Ibeck to search further, and upload the song to the bestof80s.de and the spiritofradio.ca. After that, both Darius and Lydia moved on with their lives and forgot about the song, until the Radio Eins broadcast. Gabriel posted about Lydia's message on Reddit, leading to the MMSI becoming skeptical about Lydia's claims, potentially because of recent hoaxes. The deleted Reddit user Gene Rottenberg started a hoax claiming that their uncle has an album by the band called Zuskaten Jung, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right, with the song on it. Long story short, they were a troll and it was bullshit. Then, Nicholas Sequeira, who's a musician, comedian, and professional mail-order cartoonist, whatever the f that means, claimed to have made TMS with their band Blau Blatt Bamel. To save you time, the latter was satirical and bullshit too. Lydia created a Reddit account under the username Bluely and wrote a comment/update on Gabriel's post, explaining who she and her brother Darius are, their involvement in the search, and providing proof by logging back into her Blue account on thebestof80s.de to answer a message, along with screenshots for further proof. From August 25th to September 3rd, Lydia posted 4 following updates to Reddit. Her second update goes through the history of tape number 4. This is the tape that holds the recording of TMS. Lydia uploads and shares a download link to a better-than-nothing quality recording of TMS, along with pictures by Darius of the tape, pictures of Darius's old model tape deck that he used to digitize the song, and talks about redigitizing the tape with the full playlist. Lydia's third update directs attention to speculations of fake song files, due to a misunderstanding between Lydia and Darius about file conversions. It started with Darius creating an AIFF file of TMS, then converting it to a lossless M4A file, and then eventually MP3 and FLAC files for Gabriel, with speculations of new MP3 files of TMS, potentially through YouTube to MP3 converters, but that's my best guess. The 2 main versions that had been floating around for years were the minute and 15-second version and the full version, which Lydia says she sent to someone, potentially Johnny Me Too, in 2007. Lydia finishes this update with the stated, "Please imagine that this thing isn't about 2 people spending their whole life on finding the song's origin, nor is there proper documentation of all the steps which we did. I had to pull a lot of info from the emails I exchanged with my brother over the years, and luckily I store them all. I will bring another update in the next few days. My brother had some interesting ideas I would like to share with you." In Lydia's 4th update, she talked about getting the tape digitized again, but from a professional service. If the service didn't recommend this, Lydia and Darius would do it themselves, with Lydia's own tape deck at a later time. Lydia also states the tape had been lying around for over 15 years at this point, in Darius's hot apartment with no AC, and they weren't expecting the sound quality to have gotten any better in that time. In between Lydia's 4th and 5th update, and even stating it in the latter update, Lydia got in contact with Radio Eins and talked to Alka Lorenzen about doing an interview, but decided to wait until the song was discovered. Spoiler alert, they didn't live up to this. Lydia and Darius had set up a dedicated email for TMS and its search, for those to send suggestions. They also got some more info from Paul Baskerville, stating he mostly played vinyl records on his radio show, and rarely played cassette tapes. If he did, he would transfer it to a reel-to-reel tape. The song could have been or not been on a vinyl record, because it would have been easier to find more copies of it on that format, debatably. Paul even suggested that maybe TMS was potentially on a demo cassette tape. Attention for the search was really increasing, leading to many German articles being written about the mysterious song between September 7th and 11th, 2019. In between all these published articles, the Reddit user Antisocial Friend was able to get their mother, named Sheila D., a DJ for a weekend radio show, Mix 106.1 in Mansfield, Ohio, to play a small excerpt of TMS on the show. The same day as this broadcast, the Reddit user D-Interlacing posted a screenshot of an email they had sent to the Gemma staff about the TMS investigation. They received a response stating that Gemma's online archive is only the database's excerpt. Less than a week later, they emailed Gemma again about the search with a response stating and apologizing that they didn't have all the recorded titles between 1982 and 1984. From September 21st to the 22nd, 2019, Lydia met up with her brother Darius to digitize tape number 4 again. The following day, Lydia posted a 6th update with the full tape recording through WeTransfer download links, which would expire after a week. Thankfully, the Reddit user AdunDiddlyDoman downloaded the files and uploaded them to Internet Archive. Lydia posted a disclaimer stating, "I want to tell you that the quality of the new RIP hasn't become better than the one you know, but to be honest, I'm glad it didn't become much worse." Between September 24th and October 8th, 2019, more articles were written and published about TMS. In between these published articles, the American media outlet PRI published an 11-minute podcast titled, "What is the Most Mysterious Song on the Internet?" produced by Sam Kim. Lydia, Gabriel, and the Reddit user D-Interlacing is interviewed, with Lydia being interviewed audibly for the first time on this podcast. Reddit user Silver Sunshine Stairs made a post titled, "If the song were proven to be a hoax, would you still like it?" It made many think more about the TMS investigation. Some said they would still like it, some said they would be upset over wasted time, and some saying they would prefer it to be a forgotten 80s song. This user said they would even congratulate the hoaxer for a great backstory but be upset for time wasted. Some even went against this post stating TMS is not a hoax. Lydia herself even commented on this, stating, "I simply want to know who they are, what made them record the song, and how did it play on the radio." Lydia posted a 7th update, taking a deep dive look at all the German radio DJs who would have and haven't hosted shows between 1982 and 1984, and potentially played the song. On New Year's Eve 2019, the Reddit user Harnaz_69 did some more audio analysis by inverting one of the channels of TMS. They discovered the vocals and percussion were recorded in stereo, with the other tracks being mono. By doing this, they were able to hear someone talking in the background throughout the whole recording, theorizing that the radio host left the mic on while the song played on air. Going into the 2020s, the Reddit user Dakido made a post highlighted as a possible lead. At the time, there were a couple posts by MapRef 41 North 93 West. One that was a map of where NDR radio could have broadcasted to and who heard it, along with another post titled A Couple Thoughts, asking if anyone had old European newspaper archives about Paul Baskerville in 1984. The mention of newspaper archives probably triggered an associated ADHD thought, leading to Dakido discovering Music and Media magazine. It was a European magazine for the arts, media, and entertainment, published first as Euro Tip Sheet in 1984, eventually changing to Music and Media in 1986. This also led to them discovering WorldRadioHistory.com, which archives music magazines with a search engine based on years, names, words, phrases, etc. On this site were all of Euro Tip Sheet's releases archived from 1984 to 2003. This led to the MMSI to start deep dive searching on this website, finding anything with Paul Baskerville and NDR. The same day as Dakido's post, the deleted Reddit user Xavier Simpson 88 made a post titled TMS air date is August 27th to the 31st, 1984. We'll give details and comments. They had searched through WorldRadioHistory.com and found this article that showed the most played songs in that date range, thinking this could find the song's air date, since some of the songs from Tape 4 were aired during this time. There was one article found by Secunde from the Discord server where Paul's favorite album of the week was a compilation album called Somewhere Outside, featuring Danish bands, making many think that the mysterious song could have been part of this or another compilation album. Upon listening to it personally, it wasn't on there. The Reddit user Nay Nay the Wonder Horse made a post titled, "I found a song called Weide Wind," listed in 1983 on M&M by a band called Godvind. Paul Baskerville also mentioned in post. The only band with the name that I could find does not seem to have any songs by that name, leading me to think it may be another band by the same name. Upon closer look, the song was played by a different German radio station and DJ. I found this song titled Nøddevind, translated to English as Just the Wind. It may have been a typo in the article. By the way, this song is also not TMS. This deleted Reddit user posted music for young people NDR1 station change in 1984, plus other stuff. They went over which northern states of West Germany NDR1 and 2 played in, NDR1 being split up into 3 stations, along with the different station changes for music for young people. This led to the deleted user to hypothesize that Darius recorded TMS, presumably in 1984, from either NDR1 radio Niedersachsen or NDR2, 2 stations that broadcasted to Wilhelmshaven, where Darius and Lydia were from. Months prior, on November 10th, 2019, Reddit user RandomNinja64 made a post titled, "A Talk with a German Man from the 80s. They talked to a family friend about the song in search, and said it was unlikely that the song would have played on NDR2, claiming that the station only played classical music, while NDR1 broadcasted news and NDR3 played pop music. It was determined by Johnny Me Too that it was vice versa for NDR2 and 3. However, Lydia commented on the post, correcting an assumption she made in 2007 by stating that the song would have most likely played on NDR1, who originally had the broadcasting block Music for Young People before it moved to NDR2. June 26, 2020, Lydia posts about her son finding a box of around 40 cassette tapes in her shed, 4 of which were compilation tapes labeled A through D that Darius had made. Tape A had TMS on it, labeled as Take It In, Take It Out. It was assumed the tape had been made after 1989, since the 1989 song A Day Called Zero by Sugar Cubes was on this tape. Lydia wasn't sure if she would digitize this tape, but had no doubt that TMS was on it. On July 9th, 2020, the Reddit user FlexOnMobile made a post titled, "World Exclusive. I have obtained the 1984 song list from Paul Baskerville's radio show, Music for Young Leute, plus the backstory on how I got it. Not clickbait." FlexOnMobile read the Rolling Stone article published a year prior about this song, mentioning that the NDR had found 21 recorded shows in its archive out of hundreds, and was in the process of listening back to them and hunting down playlists. After doing some research, discovering this NDR article from 2014, basically saying that there's access to public archives for researchers and scientists, and finding an email to the NDR archives, FlexOnMobile sent an email, hoping to get audio recordings of Paul's shows. 3 days later, he received what he described as a bombshell email. Paraphrasing, an employee working at NDR archives emailed back thanking FlexOnMobile for their request. They had read about TMS and had already done some research and listened to some of the songs. Sadly, there were no recordings from any of the original NDR shows and no leads as far as listening to songs, but offered to send Paul Baskerville's Music for Young People broadcasting logs and song lists between 1982 and 1984, to which FlexOnMobile accepted the offer. Before posting anything about this, FlexOnMobile shared this news privately with the MMSI, finding out that there were more DJs who hosted Music for Young People, leading to another email being sent to the NDR archives. NDR replied back stating there were between 6 to 7 hosts of Music for Young People, which they saved all these logs, but for lack of better words, would be a pain in the ass to find, digitize, and send them. They said if FlexOnMobile and others didn't find anything from the logs that were sent out, that maybe NDR could send out the other ones later. The next day, FlexOnMobile posted, "Breaking. Paul Baskerville likely did not play the song." The MMSI went through Paul's broadcast logs and song lists, including Lydia and FlexOnMobile, and even created a spreadsheet of this list. TMS was not found in this list. It was a bit of a bummer, but the MMSI remained optimistic, moving on feeling closer to the solution, and were looking into accessing more song lists, showing the commitment and motivation they had to find the song. I wish I had that. Lydia left a comment on Flex on Mobile's previous post making some conclusions. She found a couple of obscure unknown songs to her from the list on YouTube. None of them were TMS either, but because she was able to find them on YouTube, it made her think and gave her hope that TMS could likely be on YouTube with the real title and band. She also found that none of the songs from Tape 4 were on Paul's list from 1984, but many of the songs from Darius' full list spanning over all 32 of his tapes were in Paul's list, giving the MMSI some hope. Darius even claimed to have vivid memories of recording songs from Paul's show. There was one song from Darius' list that for some reason they never revealed the name to, that they wanted to see if it was on Paul's list because Darius remembers recording Paul's introduction to the song. To their surprise, it was on the list, again giving some hope. Following this was an 8th update by Lydia informing the MMSI on the current state of the search. As mentioned earlier, Paul wasn't the only host for Music for Young People, as well as NDR. Others looked into were Peter Urban, Gert Timmerman, and Stefan Kuhn, which Paul himself had suggested to Lydia that Stefan could have been the one who played TMS. Paul even claimed that TMS was the type of song and genre that Stefan would listen to. Sadly, Stefan passed away a few years prior to the search gaining attention. But his playlists would be released, dating from 1982 to 1984, along with other DJs who hosted Music for Young People, dating only from August to December 1982. Again, TMS could not be found in these playlists. But they did have songs that both Lydia and Darius recorded and listed. There were songs on the list that they thought could be TMS by the band called Sexes, with a side note that said demo tape. Upon further investigation and getting in contact with the band, Sexes was not the band behind TMS, but more playlists were on the way. The MMSI were working hard on the search. One of the investigators, Reddit user Harold the Wizard, went as far as making a bot that could search for TMS on YouTube, with available downloads and updates for the public. Around October 2020, an old lead started being searched again about the band's Statues in Motion. They were mentioned before, along with Metro Decay by Yug or Jug, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, in Lydia's post on Spirit of Radio. Statues in Motion were a Greek new wave band that formed in February 1981. In similar fashion like the Suburban Lawns, the band members gave themselves stage names. They put out only one album, a self-titled LP released in 1983. Rewinding back to July 2019, Gabriel Vieira messaged Billy Knight with no new leads. From that time to October 2020, many had contacted Billy with him saying that the song was not by Statues in Motion. Fast forwarding to December 2020, it wasn't until the YouTuber Campspiracy contacted Billy was when he started claiming that Statues in Motion were the ones behind TMS. Cam did an interview with Billy where he talks about how he became a musician when Statues in Motion started, claimed that TMS was made in 1982 and supposed to be on the self-titled LP, but was scrapped, along with 5 other songs, due to no space on the vinyl record. He also talks about the record label being hesitant about releasing an English record to Greek audiences, and procrastinating when making the vinyls. This led to the band breaking up. When listening to Campspiracy's interview with Billy, some thought based on Billy's nervous vocal mannerisms and errors in his storytelling that he may be lying, and just wanted to promote his new band, Astrodot, while others thought he may have been misremembering things. There's a comment on this video by Wang from Venom Snake Supremacy that says, "It just looks like the man got tired of all the messages and said it was his song just to get everyone off his back. If so, it was like trying to put out a fire with gasoline." This led to many questioning him about the song, details, and contradictions, he said, causing Billy to get into arguments. Comparing TMS with Statues in Motion songs makes TMS stick out like a starburst in a bowl of Reese's peanut butter cups. The songs by Statues in Motion use drum machines, while TMS uses real drums. The band that created TMS is more guitar-driven, cranking the overdrive more, while the guitars, when used in Statues in Motion, are different as far as the tone and style from TMS. But Statues in Motion is more electronic driven with their synth sounds. The only thing that doesn't differ is the vocals. They sound very similar. Rewinding back to synthesizers, Billy said the synthesizers they used in Statues in Motion and on TMS were the SK-10 Symphonic Ensemble and the Yamaha CS-15 Dual. This is where some questioned Billy about what synth was used in TMS. Many had pointed fingers at the Yamaha DX7. This was a synth released in 1983 that led to a theory starting in November 2019 that it was a synth used in TMS, especially when the song is fading out. This was proved by Harnaz_69 in their video performance. It sounds exactly the same, and this was a preset sound on the synth. With the release year of the DX7, it helped with figuring out what year TMS was made and released, but Billy claims TMS was made in 1982, before the DX7 was released. And according to the MMSI, the synths that Statues in Motion used cannot make the same preset sound from the DX7. This topic in particular led to heated arguments in comment sections of YouTube and other social media with Billy. But there was mature back and forth discussions with others agreeing and disagreeing this was the keyboard used. The Reddit user Waves posted about a conversation they had with their best friend about TMS and the DX7. Their best friend said that it was unlikely that the DX7 was used by an independent band, since it was expensive and high-tech in 1984. Cam tried to get to the bottom of this by contacting John Chowning, the inventor of the DX7. John, 86 at the time when Cam emailed him, didn't trust his ears, and referred to Don Lewis, who helped create the DX7. Don had listened to TMS but wasn't sure if the DX7 was used on it. An earlier message with Cam and Billy revealed Billy saying Alvin made TMS. A couple months prior to Cam's interview with Billy, someone sent Billy TMS asking him if he was the one who made it, potentially basing on the title of the song. He didn't listen to it and said no. It wasn't until he listened to it, he claimed to recognize Alvin's voice in TMS. There was also a theory that Homicide, the band Alvin had before Statues in Motion, could have made the song. It's unknown if he created another band after Statues in Motion dissolved. As far as how the song made it to German radio, Billy claims that after the band split, Alvin went to Berlin and probably gave the demo of TMS to German friends. In Cam's interview, Billy said he'd lost contact with Alvin after leaving Greece in 1983, but would like to hear from him. There was a 2013 re-release of the Statues in Motion LP with a re-recorded version of an unreleased song called Pinky Complex. Billy was hoping Alvin would come out to celebrate the re-release. This brings another contradiction. Billy wasn't even sure if Alvin was alive. On the re-release album, it states, George, aka Alvin, of Greek-Australian origin, is no longer among us, according to Vasilis. That's Billy's real name. He dedicates this reissue to him. Good chap, he says, although down on his luck. So, has Alvin passed on, or is there beef between the two? According to Billy, the band had a great time together and was always having fun. Statues in Motion's manager and lyricist Eli Kane, aka Elias Mithakis, was also looked into briefly. According to Billy, Eli passed away in 2017. I've never seen so many dead ends in my life. From this Reddit post, the user Lord Elland commented, Statues in Motion have a published catalog without TMS, even in re-releases. Statues in Motion never recorded with the DX7. The record company, engineer, and studio employees said it wasn't Statues in Motion. It is pretty obvious that even if Alvin Dean recorded this song somewhere unknown, untraceable, and with no record and in a very open scenario, the song was not made by Statues in Motion. The Alvin Dean lead is currently dead and does not seem to be revivable. If there was something concrete, I'm sure it would have popped up by now. NDR would gradually release more music for young people playlists from different DJs by December 2020, ranging from 1983 to 1984. There were playlists from the last 2 weeks of 1983 missing. Sadly, none of these released playlists had TMS on them. Many, including Lydia, started wondering if the song even played on Music for Young People, or NDR for that matter. The Dutch station Hilversum 3 was brought up at one point, which Darius recorded songs from too, but there was a discovery that reassured the MMSI were still on the right track. The Reddit user Fleer did some audio analysis using the spectrum display in Audacity. They found there was a 10 kHz line present in the TMS recording, as well as songs played on NDR. This 10 kHz line was not present on songs recorded from Hilversum 3. In November 2020, NDR put out a short documentary about Zonka Chloe and NDR crew searching for TMS through archived vinyls. Paul Baskerville is also interviewed very briefly in the short documentary. From this time going into the next year, NDR sent the MMSI playlists from other shows they had, that being Der Club, Nacht Club, and No Wave. TMS was not found in these playlists either. There was another show NDR had called Pop Fit, but all the playlists for that show have disappeared and been lost to time. There were some songs listed translating to amateur tape or amateur band and creative corner. These listings had little to no information given, making some think that this lead was. There were some more distractions and people claiming to have made TMS. Ronnie Irishek, also known as Ronnie Irini or by stage name Ronnie Rocket, was the second musician to claim that he and his Austrian band Chutzpah made TMS, even going as far as attempting to copyright TMS as their song, and sharing supposedly written lyrics of the song. Their band Chutzpah started off as a punk band, eventually moving towards the pop genre, and gained some popularity with their cover of Joy Division's Love Will Tear Us Apart. Apparently this cover was also featured on NDR radio. Ronnie said that he and late band member Christian Brandl wrote the song at the end of 1983 and had two recordings in German and in English. Ronnie also provided audio demos of Christian Brandl, who supposedly sang on TMS. Christian does sound similar to the singer of TMS, but not conclusive enough to say he was the singer. Even the lead singer of Chutzpah, Robert Wolf, said that he did not recognize Brandl's voice in TMS. Supposedly, Ronnie would also claim that a saxophone was used on TMS. According to alto saxophonist Heinz Hochleiner, who claimed to be present for the recording of TMS, said there was plans of recording saxophone, but it never happened. Darius came in to help with the situation after finding an article about Ronnie in Specs magazine from March 1986. Translated, quoted, and describing Ronnie for his careless handling of intellectual property, Ronnie was covering songs with his band at the time, The Vogue, and passing them off as original compositions. Another person came forward as the creator of TMS named Avaris Avgarinos, who is the bass player in the band Blue Light. The Discord user Directions to the Courthouse contacted Avaris on March 6, 2021, by apparently guessing their email address. That's really believable. Avaris contacted back, saying that he had created TMS under the title Excommunication as a collaboration song with other Greek bands Villa or Via 21 and Mushrooms, along with Blue Light. They claimed that the version of TMS that became popular and started the search is one of 4 versions of the song. Other than contradicting pictures of a demo tape dated in 1984, when really the blank cassette tape came out in 1987, and a supposed instrumental version of the song, Avaris didn't provide much proof. Camspiracy helped out by contacting the lead singer of Blue Light, Socrates Papahatsis, or stage name Ones, with him saying he didn't sing on the song. Another guy named Randall Turner came forward and said that he was mind-controlled by MK Ultra and created the song. Seems he may be mentally ill, but who knows. There was a new lead as far as NDR, leading to Hamburg University with their music course Pop Curse, that started in 1982 and still continues to this day. It's a 3-week music class where students create pop songs, learn music production, and hold a concert at the end of the course with the students playing their songs, with professionals invited to see. NDR would also air these songs to their radio station. Some theorized that because it was a university with good finance, they could afford instruments like the DX7, and that's why it sounds like it's used on TMS, theorizing that TMS could have been a school project. Johnny Me Too and Reddit user Silberspiel got in contact with Mehmet Ergin, who helped produce songs for Pop Curse until 1990. He said he doesn't recognize TMS, but would have remembered the song if it was made in his Pop Curse class. In November 2021, Lydia and her son were doing some renovating in her apartment and found a box full of 18 cassette tapes, being labeled as, I'm going to translate it, everything that's possible or every possible music. They were mixtapes of songs recorded off radio, vinyl records, and other people's tapes. Lydia was listening to one of the last tapes in her collection and found yet another recording of TMS. It's the same recording as previous tapes, but in higher quality. This was during a time when the search had less activity and no new leads, until this one. Upon investigating, 5 songs from the newfound tape came from Darius's tapes. When writing down the titles on the newfound tape, the spelling mistake in Alice for the Sad Lovers and Giants song was present on tape 5 from Darius. He even claims remembering recording the Sad Lover songs from Radio Hilversum station. When TMS starts, there is an audio fade-in at the beginning. Lydia states Darius was the only one who mostly did audio fade-ins and outs. She also found that TMS was recorded slower, indicated by the time duration. The new recording was found on a BASF-90 Chrome Dioxide Super 2 tape, which Lydia believes might be an older tape than tape 4 from Darius. She makes some theories that Darius could have recorded TMS before 1984, potentially was played on PopFit or the last 2 weeks of 1983, based on the missing playlists of that time. The song may have been played more than once after 1984 going into 85, and other personal theories. Eventually, the higher quality version of TMS would be digitized and shared around that time. 2022 was a quiet year for the TMS search. Besides receiving some playlists from 1985 that turned up nothing, there were no big developments and leads for TMS. In Lydia's only post in 2022, she discusses the 1985 playlist, including other unknown songs, along with demo tape listings, but didn't lead anywhere. The only eventful news was that Lydia was interviewed at Radio Jade, a small local radio station to her. She and the host talked about the TMS story, asking listeners if they had any clue who made the song, and to help find it, even asking if there were any other radio stations that could have played it. Besides another hoax about the song, there was an event that happened in 2023 but wasn't revealed until early 2024 that brought back the Alvin Dean lead. Camspiracy made a video about Alvin Dean, focusing on his bio and music career. Cam received info from the YouTube user Dr. X Slump, claiming to have had a conversation with an old friend of Alvin's. Alvin's friend basically told a similar story to Billy Knight's about Alvin leaving Greece in 1983, going to Germany, and then losing contact with Alvin in the early 2000s. They obviously had no clue about the TMS search, and like everyone, including Billy, assumed Alvin is dead. Alvin's friend listened to TMS saying the vocals sounded similar to Alvin's. This is where it gets questionable. In the same video, Cam received info from the Reddit user Dalvin that they had found an address for Alvin under his real name, George Dalambiris. This address was pretty close to where Cam lives in Australia. As Cam claims, he went to the address bringing a friend along as a witness to see if they could talk to Alvin/George about TMS. We'll call him George for the rest of the video. George's wife answered the door at first, then George eventually came out and Cam explained to him about TMS, etc. Cam claims George was shocked and surprised and asked Cam and his friend how good of a singer was George. Cam's friend said George was an amazing singer, to which George said, "Wow," with a big smile on his face. Cam's friend claimed she had no doubts that they met the man who sang TMS, but also claimed that George seemed to have moved on from the music lifestyle and didn't want to be famous, but seems content with the lifestyle he lives now. Cam also asked Billy about Alvin/George's height before apparently meeting them, saying the height was accurate and that George's voice was similar to the one on TMS. George apparently has unreleased music with another musician named Yannis Baltikas that he was planning on releasing soon, with a released demo song called Ghosts. Cam believes that the man that he and his friend met is George Dalambiris, aka Alvin Dean. But according to this obituary, George passed away in 1986. If this is true, RIP George Dalambiris. But if it's not, then what the f is going on with this story, dude? One of the old leads being looked at again starting around November 2023, leading into May 2024, was the amateur band listings, with Pakoda Pog 18's post about a listing for September 17th, 1984. Through this, Whorefest, and yes, that's the name, started to be looked into. I know what you dirty-minded motherfuckers are thinking, and it is not that kind of festival. The Reddit user OKHorse2688 was the one to bring attention to this festival, with screenshots from German articles. Reddit user probably doesn't exist mentioned that Whorefest had been brought up years prior, but finding info about it was difficult. Whorefest, translating to either listening or broadcast festival, was an annual German music festival held in Hamburg and organized by NDR starting in 1983. It was to help bring attention to independent bands and apparently up-and-coming comedians. The performers were asked to send in demo tapes. Those chosen would perform live to an audience and on radio, with the audience voting on the performers, and the latter winning cash rewards. Lord Elland brought attention of live Whorefest compilation albums of bands that performed at this festival, released by NDR starting in 1985. Unfortunately, no leads came from these, but a couple months later, Reddit user SuccessfulBread347 made a post about Whorefest running from September 14th to the 15th, 1984, with many live recordings being played on the 17th, the date of the amateur band listing. This led to Reddit user Amishi theorizing that TMS was a live recording after closely listening to the song and pointing out some background noises. Some were quick to try to debunk this theory, while others believed it could be possible. Through more investigation, Reddit user Stemba17 found the State Archive of Hamburg, a digitalization service for physical publications through hamburg.de. They found listings for Whorefest between 1983 and 85, but trying to find out how to access these listings was a bitch. Between Stemba17 and Reddit user 94xcyk, they looked into this. 94xcyk found out how to access the listings, but it would cost money per page. Stemba17 decided to take a risk and submit a request to access these listings, with 94xcyk asking those a part of the MMSI to help out with payments. Around the same time, there was another archive service being looked into called Stasi Records Archive. The search through these archives started in April 2024 and ended in September the same year, with no new leads. There was also another archive service translated to State Committee of Broadcasting being looked into as well, but nothing came from this either. There was no complete list of bands that played at Whorefest, but on August 1st, 2024, Reddit user Snigelpasta posted, "I've made a breakthrough on Whorefest 1984, not clickbait." They found an article about a band named Twilight that played at Whorefest 84. Snigelpasta contacted Twilight band member Peter Jack, who saved promo material from that festival and shared it. The poster Peter shared showed the festival was being broadcasted to radio stations, such as NDR, on September 17th, 1984. It also had a list of all the bands that played at that year's festival. The follow-up to requesting from the State Archives of Hamburg led to the Reddit user Purple Dog with Spats, whose friend from Hamburg went to the local archive the week before to help with the Whorefest research. They found out that digitizing all the requested documents would have broken their bank account, but requested whatever was available between 1983 and 1985. They estimated about 25% of the documents scanned were helpful for the search. Purple Dog with Spats also provided the full list of the final 20 Whorefest performers, with No Caramel 5569 providing more analyzed info from the day before. Reddit user SuccessfulBread347 posted that for many weeks, nearly 1,000 document pages were being looked over by them, along with Purple Dog with Spats, Lord Elland, Marin1412, Probably Doesn't Exist, Johnny Me Too, and Stemba17. They were making any useful info they found available in a spreadsheet. In the same post, SuccessfulBread347 provided the background on this lead to those who haven't kept up, what those involved with the search need to know about the Whorefest documents, and asking for help from those involved with the TMS search to look through these documents, while laying out concerns, guidelines, and ground rules for leads for contacting and useful purposes. This led to SuccessfulBread347 creating posts under the name Whorequest. I'm just imagining a viewer watching this video without headphones and a close friend or family member walks in and hears the term Whorequest without context. The Whorequest updates were about the MMSI looking into unknown bands that hadn't been researched. Successful Bread also did a FAQ about Whorefest, explaining what it is, the connection between Whorefest 84 and TMS, which bands and genres performed at the festival, and if there were any pre- and post-event recordings or broadcasts, along with other questions and answers. Successful Bread stated in this post, while it is not confirmed that the TMS band was connected to Whorefest 84, the festival is considered a good lead. On November 4th, 2024, the Reddit user Marin1412 discovered an old newspaper article in the Nordwest Taitung archive while looking for bands who played at Whorefest. In the article, the band called Fex from Kiel was mentioned, along with their members. They had won a contest in Bremen in September 1984, having their music described as rock with wave and pop influences. In the same article, Marin recognized the name Mikkel Hadrick from a band called Fret, a band that had been looked into during 2021. Marin had read an article prior about Fret playing at Whorefest 1983, with Mikkel Hadrick being mentioned. They got in contact with Mikkel and asked if he still had some old songs from Fret and Fex, to which he followed up. The song Subways of Your Mind was the one that stuck out. That's because this was the most mysterious song on the internet. Cue explosion. In the same post, Marin shared the studio recording of TMS, now known as Subways of Your Mind. It's a different version, but nevertheless, it's the song, it's TMS. It's finally friggin' solved. Quoting Marin, after I emailed him back that the song is actually quite a famous lost song, he asked me not to go public with it until he spoke with old band members. In the meantime though, the song did get registered at Gemma and people found out about it, but I'm happy to say that the band members agreed for me to go public with it, so here it is. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions, and I hope the band can answer these themselves in the future. I'm just glad and relieved the search is over. With this final lead bringing everyone the answer they've been waiting for, ruling out Statues in Motion, Ronnie Rocket, Randall Turner, and other theorized bands, hoaxes, and distraction rabbit holes that were dug during this investigation, I think it's time that we talk about Fex now. Before Fex, they were Modulators. Formed in 1980, they were a new wave punk and electronic band that used German lyrics, releasing one album in 1982 called Hygiene, 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 and then disbanding between 1982 and 1983, eventually turning into Fex, a term that loosely translates from German to English as nerd, or according to Terra Rückwärts, a southern German word for someone who is very enthusiastic about something. Fex had more than a few lineups between 1983 and 1988, along with some anonymous band members. The average lineup was Terra Rückwärts on lead vocals and guitar, Mikkel Hadrick on keyboards, backing vocals and rhythm guitar, Norbert Zerman on bass, and Hans Reimer Sievers on drums. From a previous lineup with Jörg Lemke on bass, they gained attention when participating in the music competition, the Zeus Newcomer Show. Fex won the award to contribute a track to the Zeus Top Hits compilation album, released later in April 1985. That track was Jenny. Funny enough, it was also looked into during this investigation. Fex then disbanded in 1988. Now that we went through the background info of Fex, it does leave the question, how did Subways of Your Mind get on NDR radio? Tura came up with the idea for Subways of Your Mind, stating, the song is about anticipatory anxiety and depressive thoughts with a slight glimpse of hope, and saying the situation in the song happened to him. At first, Tura improvised guitar riffs with a drum machine, with the rest of the band constructing the song afterwards. There are many different recordings of Subways of Your Mind in existence. The first 3 recordings were assumed to have happened between 83 and 84, or the latter year. The first recording, known as the practice room recording, has a longer intro with a conclusive ending, but the quality is shit. Apparently, it was recorded at the end of June 1984, a month or so before the NDR version, featuring Jörg Lemke on bass, who had and found this version of the song on a demo cassette. The second recording is known as the NDR recording, or Darius's version. As far as how this recording got onto NDR, the band has no clue. They don't remember contacting NDR and speculate that their agency sent NDR the rehearsal tape and they aired it. The only proof of the NDR recording is the comparison of the present 10 kHz line. The band actually found the original source tape for the NDR recording on Christmas Day 2024. That's a great Christmas gift for this community. This recording has resulted in the Mandela effect as far as Fex's first bass player's memory, Volker Schenk. Through the Reddit user Material Witness, they were able to get in contact with Volker through Luis Kersebaum, a current or former bandmate of the band Alaman. Going off the relayed info, Volker claims to recognize himself playing bass on the NDR recording, and said there was a single released in 1983, but Volker Schenk left Fex in 1983 before the first recording of Subways of Your Mind. Jörg Lemke is skeptical of Subways of Your Mind being recorded in 1983, but after listening carefully to this version, Jörg and even Norbert are unsure if they played on this version. Mikkel also guesses that this recording was in 1983. We also have to remember that these men are a little up there in age now. Just an observation, no judgment. They lived a lot of life after this band, so their memories of this time can be fuzzy. The third version was the studio recording, released on Fex's 1985 EP featuring Norbert Zierman on bass. There was also a live version of the song played at the Roxy Paderborn on May 25, 1985, that was sent to and posted by Reddit user Damn Peggy Lost Wave. And there's also a new live acoustic version from 2024. It was confirmed that the DX7 was used as a keyboard on both the NDR and studio recording of Subways of Your Mind, with Mikkel providing a list of other synths and instruments he used in Fex. Some were still skeptical that Fex was the band behind TMS. Mikkel Hadrick was interviewed by TZ.de about this, stating that they had proof of, and quoting, the original recording of the studio session, the recording from the rehearsal room before the studio session, live recordings of at least 2 of their performances where the song was played, statements from the original band members, witnesses from the studio session, their agent at the time, detailed description of the recording situation, and the unmistakable voice of the singer. Following Marin 1412's discovery, Gabriel made his final TMS post, thanking everyone involved and their dedication to searching TMS and finding the artists behind it. Following that was Lydia's post about finding TMS. Between processing the discovery, assuring that Fex is 100% the band that made TMS, aka Subways of Your Mind, and that this mystery is solved. The same night as this post, Lydia was in a half-hour meeting with the band and a journalist interviewing them. At the end of the interview, the band played a live acoustic version of Subways of Your Mind, which made Lydia joyfully emotional. She thanked everybody for their commitment and going above and beyond for the search. She also added that Darius has now updated Tape 4's list. This was the end of the investigation, but the beginning of Fex's newfound fame. According to Mikkel from this TZ.de interview, I hadn't fully grasped the implications. I immediately contacted Norbert Zerman and Turla Rukvad by phone, and we discussed whether this news could be released. After that, everything happened very quickly. The Reddit pages were full of comments, we received interview requests from various media outlets, and we were asked by Reddit moderators to provide evidence for verification. We were all completely surprised and overwhelmed by the truly kind comments and posts. We suddenly learned what was happening on the internet completely unnoticed by us. And it wasn't because we, as old hands, aren't digital natives, there was simply no trigger. Mikkel Hadrick had been running a YouTube channel based on a new project called Silk Vision. In this video, What's on Your Mind? Subways, by the way, no pun intended. He wrote out a response about TMS in the comment section, basically stating a similar response to the TZ interview, but would keep everybody posted. This led to articles with interviews of the band being written, televised, and uploaded to social media. There was an AMA by both Mikkel and Tura, with Reddit users asking all the questions they wanted answered about Fex and Subways of Your Mind. Former members of Fex, Jörg Lemke, Hans Reimer Zavers, and Tura's wife, Ilona Rukvad, would also answer questions, provide more evidence about Fex, Subways of Your Mind, and keep up with the Reddit pages. Even Mikkel's daughter would get involved with this discovery, sharing a photo of the demo cassette on Mikkel's DX7 Mark II. Not only that, Tura, Mikkel, and Norbert reunited in a short NDR documentary and performed a live acoustic version of Subways of Your Mind. This was the band's first performance since the late 80s. This would lead to them getting back in contact with their old drummer, Hans Reimer Zavers, who I should note kept his Fex drum set. They lost contact with him when the band broke up in 1988. This led to new recording sessions, live shows, the band signing to the German record label The Outer Edge, releasing 2 singles, physical and digital, of Subways of Your Mind with another song called Heart in Danger, along with the NDR or the Most Mysterious Song version of Subways of Your Mind with Talkin' Hands, and a new full-length debut album called Skyscraper with the art being done by Darius, released on July 10th this year. This album has remastered tracks recovered from original recordings and from the 1985 demo tape, along with the NDR or the Most Mysterious Song version of Subways of Your Mind as a bonus track. Sadly, after the first single was released, Hans had to leave Fex for personal reasons, but remains good friends with the band. I gotta say, researching the history of this investigation was insane. It had a somewhat similar story like Ready and Steady by DA, which I've covered before, except it was vice versa. Just watch the Pointless History episode on it, you'll understand. This song led to covers of the song, a German documentary about this song that just came out earlier this month, Successful Bread writing a book about the search, and spoiler, it was featured in Black Phone too. Dude, it's also playing at hockey games. Who'd have thunk? It led to a newfound fame for Fex and an official music video for Subways of Your Mind, yes starring Darius. I highly recommend checking it out.
TMS, or Subways of Your Mind, will leave a legacy of being the most viral internet investigation of all time that brought a satisfying ending to those involved. A classic case of better late than never. But I think I can safely say that this mystery is solved. Hello?
We're not done yet.
Who the hell is this?
Let's just say, I'm someone helping you keep this rupture afloat.
Yeah, that's definitely not creepy. And what do you mean I'm not done? TMS was solved.
TMS was solved, but there's more lost media that needs to be covered on the internet.
Why are you laughing?
Think of this like a curse. You're cursed to research more lost media for the rest of your life.
It's fine by me.
What?
I'm fine with that, man. Is that a problem?
It doesn't freak you out that you'll be searching for lost media for the rest of your life?
Well, I don't know if I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, but gives me content to make for Pointless History.
I can't do anything right.
Have to start somewhere.